Hello, folks. It seems to be some problem with my Wi-Fi. Give me a moment. I'll just correct it out. Hi, Wasik. Hi, Hossein. Walaikum assalam. Let's vote for some 2 more minutes. So let other people join as well, and then I'll quickly begin the session. So it's already 9:05 now, and I feel it's time to start the session. So this session is more about it will be an interactive kind of a session. If you have any doubts or you feel anything that you're not understanding, please feel free to comment out your questions in the comment section, and I'll try my best to answer your queries out. So without taking much time, let's begin. Let me share my screen. CSS selectors in Selenium. I hope all of you are aware about the selector strategies. Uh, but to iterate it again, I'll just quickly reiterate all the locator strategies that are available in Selenium WebDriver right now. So there are 8 different types of locator strategies available. Those are uh, first one is ID locator, ID attribute. The other one is name, class name. Then we have link text, partial link text, CSS selectors, XPath, and I think I'm missing one more. That is class name and the tag name. So there are 8 different types of locator strategies, out of which we will be discussing about CSS selectors a bit in length in this video, and I'll also show you different types of locator strategies that can be used with CSS. So I would recommend you to stay and watch this video till the end to get more info around this session. So talking about the agenda for this session, we will be discussing what are CSS selectors, different CSS selector strategies, how to copy CSS selector directly from the browser and use it in the code, and how to use CSS selector in Selenium WebDriver. So most of the sessions I will be providing you with the hands-on part with regards to how to work with CSS selectors, how to locate the web elements using the developer tools in the browser, and I'll also demo you out some of the tests where we will be copying and using the CSS selectors for locating the web elements and running our test. So what are CSS selectors? So CSS stands for cascading style sheets, and by using CSS selector in Selenium, we can identify and locate the web elements by using their ID, class name, and other attributes like type, value, placeholder, etc. CSS is faster and simpler than XPath and allows for a clearer and more crisp method to locate web elements. Now, CSS is supported in all the modern browsers that are available nowadays, and it is a great way to quickly locate the web elements and work on your automation test. In Selenium WebDriver, CSS selectors can be used to locate web elements using the by.css selector method. So this CSS selector method is available in the by class of Selenium WebDriver, and this method accepts CSS selector as a string of its argument. So by.css selector, inside the bracket we can update the CSS selector locator strategy by providing the it in the string format, and it will help in selecting the web element and running or interacting with the web elements when the automation tests are run. And these CSS selectors can also be used by chaining together, like we can chain together the id attribute with the type attribute. We can also use the class, we can use the value attribute as well, and ideally use the CSS selectors in the Selenium automation test. Now, there are what are different types of CSS selector strategies that I was like initially talking about. So there are total 16 different types of CSS selector strategies that can be used in Selenium automation to locate the web elements, and those can be used to work and interact with the web elements as well. So the first one is the ID attribute. So ideally, it refers to the id attributes that is available in the DOM, and we can use it using the hash character and pass it as a string, pass the CSS selector as a string using hash by prefixing the hash character in the string itself. Then id with tag name. Class name can also be used. So for using class name, we can use the dot character to so CSS selectors identify that this is a class name, and ideally it will locate the web element using it. Then the name can also be used. Combination of id and type attributes, combination of HTML tag name and class name. Now all this stuff that I'm showing you right now, we will be checking it out on the developer tools, how to locate them and how to use them in the test. Then we can use substring, like matching a prefix. So if you know that some attribute values start with a particular character, then that characters can be used to locate web elements using a prefix. So here we can pass on the value star there to match a prefix. Similarly, we can use substring for matching a suffix, that is a particular word ending with the attribute value. For example, is name. So you can give the value like dollar equal to me. So that refers to name ends with me out there, and we can locate the element using the suffix. Similarly, we can use contains, matching a substring, and matching a word as well. Next, we can use tag names with the colon first of type to locate so this particular strategy can be used with list of web elements that are available. Like for example, we have list in the drop down field, combo box, and we can use this kind of CSS selector strategy to locate the first element in the list. Similarly, the last element in the list can be located using last of the type and nth of the type. Now this is similar to nth hyphen child of n. So if you want to locate a particular third element or fifth element or a particular number of element on in the list itself, you can use nth of type. Then similarly you can use nth child. So nth of type and nth child almost are more or less they are the same. Then the first child and the last child. So this first of type, last of type, first child, last child. First of type and last of first of type and first child ideally are of the same type. They will locate the first element in the list. Last of type and last child will locate the last element in the list. So now it's time for demonstration. The first part that we will be seeing is how to copy the CSS selector from developer tools directly, and then using CSS selector strategies that we just discussed. And then we will be using it in the Selenium test. So let me take you to the Selenium Playground website. This is a very good website I came across while writing blogs for Lambda test, and it has some good menus available that can be used for practicing Selenium WebDriver. So first of all, I'll just show you how can we copy the selectors directly. So to open the developer tools, there are two options. First, using these three dots, you just go to settings. Oh, sorry. You just go to more tools and then click on developer tools here. This will open the developer tools option in the bottom of the screen, and this element tab can be used to locate the web elements. Now I'll just click on this icon here that will be able to select the element. For example, I want to let me go to some of the page so it would be easier to locate the particular field. So for example, I want to locate the name field here. So it takes me to the div here, but I can see that there is an input element here, and the name is title, id is title, there is a class as well. So let me zoom this a bit so you will be able to see this fully. I'll just hide this up. We can just right click, copy, copy selector. Now this will select the actual selector that can be used in Selenium WebDriver test for locating a web element. To check out if we have copied the selector correctly, we can just paste it in the search box that opens by clicking on Control F. So here we click on Control F or Command F. If you're on Mac, we can open the search box and then paste the, I'll just press Control V to paste the selector that I've just copied. So this way you can see it directly copied the CSS selector using hashtag out there, hash title. So this hash refers to this ID attribute. And then if I press enter here, I'm able to see that it locates the name field correctly. Now what happens if there is a kind of a field which is a complex, or the website is too complex? How do you locate the web element? So there would be, for example, let me take you to one of the website that opens a page that opens the table navigation or something, which table data download. Let's go to this page. So if I want to like check out the third row second column data here, the last name one, if I want to copy the CSS selector, how do I do that? So I just will click on this open the developer tools, locate element icon will be clicked here, and then click on the data that you want to locate. It comes to the td tag here. I'll just right click, copy selector, Control F, and paste the value here. Now you can see the CSS selectors is already copied, and we have the full path of the CSS selector available in the search box here. And this value directly can be copied in the Selenium test to locate this value named as Turner here, or whatever value that comes in the third column, third row second column out here in the last name field. So it makes things easier for us. We can quickly copy and paste and then locate the elements easily on the web page. But the thing here is, if it is a complex website, you will see a very lengthy or a very long CSS selector coming up there. So it is recommended to understand the CSS selectors strategies that can be used, like with the combination of type, value, attributes. You can make your own CSS selector, write your own CSS selector, and use it in the test instead of copying the full path of the CSS selector that is being copied from the website directly. If it is a short one, you can directly use it in the test. So this is how you copy the selector. Uh, Let me open a project and then run a small piece of test by copy pasting the values. I have a Selenium demo project created here. uh, there's another website available as well, but I won't be using that website right now. So let's take an example of this website only, and we will be locating this element. We will be printing out this value in the console. So we will be, this is a small test. I'm sorry, I didn't share my entire screen. I think you should be able to see my screen now, IntelliJ screen. I hope you are able to see the full screen now. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. I can see lots of message coming up. uh, I'm sorry, I'll just give you the explanation once again. uh, so here I have navigated to the Selenium Playground website. I went to this page here, table data download. In this web page available here, we will be checking out the third row, second column values. So if I want to like locate this value, how do I do that? So I'll just open the web developer tools that can be opened. There are two options. There are two options to open the developer tools. First is using this, clicking on the three dots here, clicking on more tools, and then opening the developer tools here. The second option is by pressing the F12 key directly. You can open the developer tools here. Now, if I want to locate the on the third row, the second element, I can just click on this select element icon here, move the cursor to the respective element that I want to locate, and it will, in the element tab, you can see that it had located that element here. I can just right click and then copy the selector and then paste the values that I just copied here. So this way, I will be able to copy the CSS selector directory from the developer tools. Now, one more thing, if I want to like, if there's a website that's too complex or the DOM is too complex out there, and once you copy the CSS selector, you see a full length, like more than 255 characters coming out in the CSS selectors out there. So it's better to understand the CSS selector strategy, so you can create your own CSS selector and accordingly use it in your Selenium automation test. But it is not recommended to copy the whole path, like more than 255 characters, in case if there's a lengthy CSS selector that you see coming out there. I'll also show you one more example where you can shorten up the CSS selectors. But before doing that, let me show you one example by running the test. So what we will do is, I'll just navigate to this website or to this web page here, and then print out the third row, second element that comes in the second column here, by using this XPath that we just copied from the developer tools. Now, this is a project that I have created, IntelliJ project, that is I've created for demoing out a sample thing. If you check out the pom.xml, I'm using the latest Java Selenium WebDriver version, that is 4.12.1, and TestNG 7.8.0. Rest all the things are the same. Like, I'm using some Maven compiler plugin and Surefire plugin to run the test as well. So let's move to the test quickly, and let me just paste the value here, column value, and then column value dot get text. I'm just putting up I'll just remove this thread dot sleep, make this as column text, and then we'll just finally quit the WebDriver. So this is not required now. I'll just rename this test. So ideally, the scenario is WebDriver will navigate to this website on this web page, table data download, and it will locate in the third column, in the third row, it will locate for the second value coming out there, and then print it in the console. So let me run this test now. So you can see the value Turner coming out exactly the ones that we just copy pasted from the developer tools, the CSS selector for which we copy pasted from the developer tools. Next thing, I mentioned about a very a lengthy CSS selector coming out, and then we can shorten that up as well. So if you check out these things, like here we have hash example and then tbody and tr and child. Uh, we can also make it a bit shorter by just removing the first part, and that will still work. And that still works because we just have a simple page out there. We don't have multiple nested web elements or inside the dom. That is the reason why it works simply out there. But in case of complex websites, there might be capability, there might be problems, like there might be multiple web elements out there, and you'll have to provide the exact web element path or the CSS selector strategy to locate the exact value out of it. So in that case, it is suggested to use the other CSS selector strategies. Now, let's take an example, understand the different CSS selector strategies. So the first one that we talked about in the slide was around ID locator. So let's take an example of Selenium playground only. Let's take an example of input form demo page. This one. Here we will be locating the name field. So here you can see the ID in the input tag. Always make sure whenever you are on a form or a web page, make sure you are not looking out for the elements inside the shadow root thing, but before that there would be an input tag from which you can locate the web element easily. Now this shadow root is something different, and that won't be used to locate this particular field right now over here. So we will make use of this input tag element in the DOM, and then whatever ID or name that is available for this field, we will be making use of that. So we can see that the ID is equal to name here. So I'll just open the search again. Now without copy pasting, I can just put the hashtag. Hash refers, as I mentioned previously, hash refers to the ID attribute, and then we will use the word name here, as the name is, as the ID for the value for this ID attribute is name. So you can see the name field gets selected successfully out here. Similarly, we can also use ID with tag name as well. So now what is a tag name? Now this input is actually the tag name. So if you want to be more explicit around a particular web element, you can use like input and then the web element. So ideally it will locate the same element but specific to this particular field only. So it makes things more robust. Like there are two conditions covering up things here. One is the input tag, the other one is the ID attribute. Now for example, let's take an example of this website field. Now the ID says website name, right? So we'll just use input hash website name here. So this was for the input field, like the fields which we can enter some values out there. How do we do that uh, for the text elements? Like for example, if I want to print the text input form validations and then perform a kind of an assertion on it, how do I do that? So here I can see that the input tag is h2 here, so you can directly use h2, and you can see in the search box itself, like it shows 1 of 16. So there are 16 different tags that have h2 as their name, and one of them is the input form validations. Now to make things work easily for this particular h2 tag, we'll have to do some more work on it. Like this particular, if this h2 is a child element of this section field, it has a class name empty50, or we can use the class container. So ideally, like I said, the class name can also be used in CSS selector. So we can use like container dot container and then h2. If you check out that the class name container and h2, this combination is available for 8 different fields out there in the on the DOM of this page. Now you can see by using a dot container or a class name combination, providing two different combinations for locating the web elements, we were able to like cut down 50% of the elements that are not required from our point of view. Similarly, let's also check out for some other things that can be used to locate the web element easily. Uh, After class container, there is a div. There are two divs and then an h2. So let's check out by giving div h2. The same thing happens for the other elements as well. As the DOM is been as this is a demo website, most of the things are copy pasted and the fields are created. So let's be more specific around this. So we can make use of this class name dot flex, dev dot flex. Dev dot flex and dev dot w hyphen full. Now you can see if I provide the values, let's remove this thing again. So there's also a difference between this greater than sign is a wildcard that can be used. So if you don't provide this greater than sign, if you don't provide this greater than sign, then it refers to the adjacent web elements, like all the adjacent web elements that has a combination of a class name dot container, then that and then I have a tag name div, another tag name div, and then h2. All those elements will be located. But I want to give an absolute value, like I want these things to be particular, to be very specific. I can give this greater than arrow sign, and then it will refer to the first web element that is located by using this CSS selector dot container div and then h2. So it will locate the h2 tag directly. But there's one more hack. You can directly provide the h2 tag in your test name. So the first element that has a tag name h2 will be directly located in your test. But since we are not sure that this refers to some value, there are 16 different tag names, so it might not be accurate. So it's better to pass on values or the selectors that are accurate enough, so our test becomes less flaky and runs to the point crisply. The other option, like we discussed three different options. First one was using id attribute, then a combination of input tag name and then the id attribute, and then using the class name. Like I said, using class name we can provide the dot container. So dot refers to the class name. That's a shorthand for CSS selector. Next is HTML tag name. So we also discussed around like we can use dot container with the HTML tag name. So this tag name is h2 here, and that can be used. We can also provide different attributes with the tag name. The attributes refers to name, type, id, placeholder, values, and so on. These attributes can also be seen. So I can give you one more hack. In the properties tab inside the developer tools, we can make use of different properties that are available. These properties can be used in CSS selectors as well, or that can be used with get attribute, if get attribute method in Selenium. Like for example, if I want to check out this particular input form validations, right? So we can see attribute has inner HTML that can be used to get the text input form validation. Similarly, I can also use inner text for getting the input form validations text as well. There is outer text as well that can be used, and there is a text content. So let me give you a quick example of this as well. by using different attributes. Test, test, CSS, oh sorry, attributes. Okay, and this is the input form demo. So I'll change the link here. And we won't be using the column value here. We will be using the header title, or let's make it title, page title. Find element, CSS selector. Let's copy the same selector that we used, container div h2. Okay, page title dot get attribute. First, let's put all of these three that we discussed just now. Inner HTML, inner HTML, then the inner text, and then finally uh, the text content, this one here. The text content. Let's print these values. The inner text content. Inner text and then text content. Let me quickly run this test. So this will print the values in the console. We can see the values coming out correctly. The inner HTML says input form validation. Inner text says input form validation. Text contains also says input form validation. So ideally we can make, so if there are complex scenarios in your project or your website where you're not able to get the content using the get text, this is a very good substitute for using like using inner text, inner HTML, or text content. But sorry, but make sure that you check out the properties tab here and see what all values are provided in the field. Sometimes it's possible that the inner text, inner HTML values are not there, and there is value provided only for the text content field out there. So make sure that you check out the properties tag and find out the properties that you want to get in the attributes. Okay, the next syntax, the next thing that we want to discuss around attributes is the form part. So for example, if you want to locate this field here, the company field on the input form page, So we can make use of multiple combinations. So using input tag in the company field, we can check out that the values provided for these fields are like ID is company, name is company. There is a placeholder called company as well. So we can make use of these particular attributes. Placeholder equal to company, so it will refer to this field out there. You can also make use of name equal to company. Oh, the C is small here. Ideally we can also use ID equal to company. So both of these three things refers to the same field. So this is how you can concatenate or make a combination of different attributes that are available with CSS selector. So this whole thing can be copied. But since this is a very, like I said, it's a demo website, it's a simple field out there. So we can easily get all the selectors out there. But in case of complex projects, if the things are not clear, you can check out for the multiple combination. You can make use of multiple combinations. So you are not left behind on any of the part to locate or work with any of the fields out there. Let me give you one more example with the radio button page here. Radio buttons page. Now on this page, there are multiple radio buttons available, right? And let's check out the radio button mail out there. So if you check out input type, type equal to radio, and we can see there are 11 different elements located. So there are multiple web elements located on this page. So if I give the type equal to radio kind of CSS selector, it will try to locate all the CSS selectors, or it will locate only the first CSS selector that it gets in the list. It will select the mail CSS locator. If I give this CSS locator in the web automation test, it will try to locate mail locator, mail radio button every time when the test is run. So what do I do if I want to check out for a specific, like if I want to select this female radio button out there? So I can make use of this value attribute. Value, like you can see here, value equal to female. So there are two different, still there are two different fields available for value with the value parameter. With the combination of type and value parameter, I get two different fields here. So if I want to be more specific, like I want to select only this female locator here, female radio button, there is another attribute called name. I can make use of that. Name is equal to opt radio. Now specific to this locator, I will be able to select the female radio button ideally, and very to the very strict point. Like it won't, the web automation test won't take you to any other locator. It will always direct to the female radio button only that is available on the top part of this window. Now this is where CSS selectors comes to the rescue. Like we can make we and this is quite maintainable and readable as well. You can directly read the CSS selector and see that, and tell that the particular CSS selector will locate the female radio button only that is available. Now what if I want to select the female radio button that is available at the bottom here? So if you check out here, the name is gender. If I change this thing to gender, it will locate the next radio button that is available at the bottom of the page. So ideally we can reuse this CSS selector for locating the other part by just renaming the name from gender, from opt radio to gender. So this way we can take leverage of flexibility from the CSS selectors part. Combination of type, value, and name attributes we just saw. Just let's check out the substring part now. Please do feel free to check out or ask me any questions if you have on the fly by updating it in the chat section. Matching a prefix. So let's go to the Ajax form submit page here and locate this name field. Now there's one more way we can locate this field, right? There's we saw how do we locate using id, using name, and so on. But this time let's locate it differently. Input by using the css selector with the name field. So the names refers to this attribute title. If the name, the value of the name is title, and to prefix like starts with matching a substring, we can make use of the caret sign is equal to. Oh, sorry, I didn't give the attribute name. TITL. If I give this name TITL, or if I give TI only, then also it will refer to the it will check out on the DOM of the page where name attribute starts with TI, and it will locate the respective element. Similarly, if I want to locate the message field, I can check out that the name is description here. So let me change it to DESC. Wait a minute. Tag name here is text area, so it's not input, it's text area. We'll have to change that. And you can see it located the web element easily. So this is how we can make use of the substring. Now similarly, ends with, there's another attribute called ends with. We can make use of the ends with thing as well. So if I want to locate the element similarly with ends with attribute, I can make use of the dollar sign here. And using the dollar sign, so this description ends with TION, so it will ideally locate the field out there. It's not necessary that you mention the name only. I can take use of this class attribute as well. So for example, the class name dot is block. All right, so let's check out if I can class. No, I don't think it will work. Let's make of the use of the id attribute, and it works here. So it works with id as well as the name. There might be some way to locate using class as well, but I'll have to check that out. But ideally to use starts with, we can make use of caret sign. To end with, to use ends with, we can make use of the dollar sign. Dollar sign. Let's also check out the name field that ends with TLE. So we can see the ID is title. Okay, I need to change the input tag name here. Title ID ends with TLE, right? So this is how we can locate the elements using ends with as well. So let me quickly write a test to demo this out as well. Starts with and ends with. I'll just copy paste this whole thing. And we are on the Ajax form submit demo page. Driver dot find element by dot CSS selector will locate the name field using starts with attribute. So let me copy this uh, starts with, right? So we'll make use of name caret sign equal to ti and paste it here. We will also locate the final web element message field equal to driver dot find element by dot CSS selector. This time we'll be using the ends with strategy. So this is text area. The tag name here is text area, and let's use the name ends with tion. Then let's add a name field dot send keys and message field dot send keys. This is a message text. So let me check out what happens. We can also provide on some assertions here. So this is a test, and then click on submit. Okay, let's make use of this ajax request is processing. Okay, we'll also have to locate the submit button. Text which resize. So Shreyas Jain has asked one question regarding the is it possible to extract the text which resides between the open and close of the HTML tag? That can be done using expert text or contains, but curious to know if it is possible. Uh, I think you can check out the properties tag that I just showed you here. If this text is available in any of the properties, you can ideally use the get attribute method and check out the text that resides between the tag of the particular element. Now to locate the submit button here, let's make use of input and then the input type equal to button. So this will locate the, or we can also make use of this class selector directly. This is the first way. I'll just copy paste this. This is the first way. The other way around is we can see this class equal to btn and then btn duck. So we can make use of this css selector by using class name as well. Dot btn hyphen duck. This can also be used by class name, or by in css selector we can copy this value as well. This will also locate the submit button. Dot btn, this btn starting is a, this is a class name, so it will start with dot, and again there is a space here. We can make use of this name. This is a class name only, so we can use a dot again to locate the other and enter the other text that is available, btn hyphen deck. hyphen dark, and then make use of it using CSS selector to locate the web element. Now whatever value that we enter in this text, since this page is taking a lot of time to load, I guess we can just enter some element in this tag. For example, let me enter a value Faisal here. Sorry. And it has an attribute inner HTML, right? And that shows the value that is entered in the field. The same way, I guess that will be available for the message field as well. It's available as well. So instead of clicking on submit button, what we will do is we will get the text of those elements that we entered in the field. Web element name field text equal to driver dot get element. Oh, sorry, driver dot find element by dot CSS selector, not CSS selector. Okay, we can directly make use of this name field dot get attribute, and then inner HTML string name equal to, and then string message. Now what I'll do here is string name equal to Faisal and string message equal to, this is a message text. Fine, fine. Here it will be name value, this will be message value, and we'll replace this with name, and then this one with the message. Here we will do a kind of assertion, assert equals. I'm just using the static import directly from org.testng. Assert.assert equals is the long part for this. The actual value would be name value. Sorry, name value. The expected is the name. So this value that we get from the inner HTML will be compared with the value that we had sent in the field using this value that we set here in the name field. Similarly, the next assertion for message value and then the message. Okay, let me run this quickly and see if it works. Okay, so it didn't. Inner HTML. Okay, so it didn't set that particular value here. Okay, then I can just make sure by just clicking on this. I'll just comment this out for time being. Submit button equal to driver dot find element by dot CSS selector. And let's make use of this CSS selector to locate and click on this web element. We won't be performing any assertions out here, but if this test passes, it means that it located all of the field and clicked on this button out here. Submit button dot click. Sorry. And the test pass. So it means all the CSS selectors that we use to locate the web elements using starts with, ends with, and then the class name CSS selector strategy all went well and worked perfectly fine. Next is let's move on to matching a substring. So let me take you to some other page that is jQuery select dropdown. So you can see there are multiple. I'll just close this for a bit. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 different drop down values available here. Now I want to check out which of this drop down value is ideally a combo box, or whose role is a combo box. So for example, let's first open this developer tools, go to this menu here, and we can see there is a span tag name available. The role, it says combo box. So if I want to select, or if I want to check out what all fields have a role combo box out there, so I can give the value here as, and here I can make use of a star to match a substring or a particular word. So role star equal to combo box. Now you can see there are 3 fields on this page, that is select state, select country. The first one is select country, select state, and third one again a select country. So there are 2 fields that have select country. First one is Australia. Sorry, this field that allows multiple value selection from this particular field out there, or maybe its role is defined as a combo box. That is the reason why we can refer to this field. Then again this field that has a role of combo box, and then finally the state field as well. So this is particularly a combo box. It can allow multiple values in the field, but this is ideally a single combo box, but has a role of combo box out there. It doesn't allow multiple value selection, but has a role of combo box attached to it. So that is the reason why it appears like there are 3 different fields that have a role of combo box. Then the last one in the substring category is the matching a word. Like this was a contains or a substring part, but the next one is matching a uh, particular word in the field. Like for example, uh, let's check out this country field. Okay, and see what all elements do we get. So we can see there is a list of elements available in this particular drop down. The list has multiple options. The ID to select this particular field is select to country results. So ideally what we can do is, like I said, a complex field. Let's try to copy the CSS selector directly. It gives something like the ID attribute and then refers to the li nth child 5. Instead of this, we can also make use of ul li, and then inside that, for example, I want to select uh, multiple options. So for example, what I can do, this is the class name, select -2 results __ option. So I can make use of li and then class, this sign tilde that refers to matching a word, equal to, and then the respective value, this value. So we can see there are 11 different values that can be selected using this field. So this locator can be used to select multiple values from this field. But if you give this locator in the automation test, whatever value that comes first in this field will be selected by default, since you haven't provided which value to select. So ideally the first value in the list will be selected by default. This is how you can select a particular word from using a substring. Now similarly, if you want to select the, by default this will select the first element in the child, but if I want to be explicit, so I can make use of first of type wildcard here. So it will select explicitly the first value, that is Australia, I guess, in the field. So you can check out that, just expand this thing. So currently it's not available. So it will select the first option in the list. Likewise, if I want to select the first child, I can make use of this field value as well. So I can give you one more small example. Since this is a drop down, it can be selected. Let me give you another example from the select drop down that will be more specific. Like for example, this is a combo list. Multiple values can be selected from this field, right? If I want to select the first element, that is called California, in this list, and this is also a kind of there are multiple options available. It's a select tag, so we can make use of like options. Sorry. First we'll have to give this multi-select, hash multi-select, and then option value equal to option first of, sorry. So it will ideally select California, first of type. Similarly, if I want to select the first child, that is the same thing. First of child, first child, first of type and first child refers to the same thing. So it will select the first option in the list. Likewise, if I want to select the last option in the list, it will be last hyphen child. Similarly, I can also make use of last of type value. Now I don't, if I want to select, like this was for referring to first and the last elements in the list. What if I want to select the random value from the list, particularly like nth element, for example the third element, I can make use of nth of type. This will select Jersey, New Jersey, that is the third option in the list. Similarly, I can also make use of like nth child. It will also select the same value. So the nth of type and nth child refers to the same thing. Similarly, first child, first of type refers to the first element in the list. Last of type, last child refers to last element in the list. Nth of type, nth child refers to the random values that you want to select, and refers to the child element that you want to select ideally. So this was also all about the CSS selectors different strategies. If you have any questions, I'm open for the questions right now. And one more thing, if you want to check out the details that I have given in this video, you can check out my detailed blog on Lambda Test Learning Hub. I've written a detailed blog on this website here, CSS Selectors in Selenium. You can check out this blog and refer to each and every example that I've given in this demo out here. So you'll find all of the stuff available on this particular blog, and the tutorial things will also be available with all the recent examples and the how do you go ahead and select the values out there. So that was all about CSS selectors in Selenium and how do we select the values. If you have any question, post your questions in the chat. I'm open for questions round. We'll wait for 5 more minutes. And you can also check out my Selenium repository on GitHub that has an example code for Selenium. This is the repository. I normally put up all the codes and all the recent examples, like how do you select a particular value from a table, tick and tick, drag down, drag drop, right click, and how do you work with frames, end to end tests. And most of the things are available in the repositories. There are multiple blogs that I've written with regards to Selenium WebDriver that you can also make use of, like Selenium WebDriver hierarchy, understanding CSS selectors, cross browser testing, how do you automate ServiceNow apps, and so on. And also you can check out my Medium blogs, and there's one more repository that I've created that refers to the awesome list. You can anyways come out on my profile on GitHub and check out the repository. It is the first repository that appears in the list here, awesome learning. You can check out this repository as well. There are lots of learning materials that are available for free. You can make use of these learning materials to learn more about and advanced things, to learn about test automation, Selenium, and other stuffs with regards to most of the mobile automation tools as well, and API testing, Selenium testing. There are tools, test automation courses related to like different test automation frameworks like Playwright, and most of the stuffs are available like Flutter, WebDriver IO, and so on. You can make use of this repository as well. One more thing, like I recently recorded one video regarding Selenium WebDriver 4.12.0 that is available on YouTube. That you can, I'll be posting out the links to that video as well in the comment section in some time, so you can check out that video. Like you see in this particular test and all of the tests that we ran, I haven't provided any driver executable path or any such things. That is because in from Selenium 4.11, Selenium Manager has been integrated with the Selenium, and it's still in beta state, but it's becoming a major component of Selenium. So we don't and it performs like automated driver and browser management as well, so you don't have to like check out the or download or perform any kind of driver executables or provide any path to the driver executables. Even if you don't have the browser installed on your machine, Selenium will take care of that. It will download the respective browser that you have provided with the respective version, and it will eventually run your test. But in case of Chrome, it will show a tag name called test, like it will be downloading the browser from Chrome for testing. That's not a normal browser that can be used for day-to-day activities. It's just for running the automated test. Similarly, in Selenium 4.12 version, automated Firefox management has also been provided by Selenium WebDriver team. So you don't have to make you like if you don't have the Firefox installed on your machine, it will eventually download the browser as well as its required driver and will run the test. There is also an added like an added bonus thing offered by the Selenium team to. So normally what happens is all the values that we download for the drivers as well as for the browsers is being cached into the Selenium folder. That folder can be customized as per Selenium 4.12 version. That folder can be customized and you can place it anywhere in your machine, any directory in your machine, but you will have to provide one toml config file that can make use of the path that you want to the cache to take care of, and then put it in some other folder out there. So all these things have been provided and demoed out in the Selenium 4.12 video that I have created earlier. So please do check out that video as well. I guess that was all about for this session. I'll be posting more such sessions in the upcoming time. So please do keep a check on my YouTube as well as on my LinkedIn chat, as well as on the LinkedIn newsfeed. Thank you so much for your time and joining me us. Thank you so much for your time and joining me on this video. Bye. Have a good night.